Welcome back, everybody, to the Neighborhood Watch for this Part 2, Chapter 2. We pick up right where we left off, and here we go.
I am the keymaster. Where's the gatekeeper?
Zardoz.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
Gozer. Sorry, not
Zardoz.
That-
Zardoz we could talk about
Yes.
too, guys.
Oh, Zardoz is a good one.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Mm-mm.
My dear Mr. Corleone. Oh, I have to let you borrow it.
Is that a Rick
Yeah.
Moranis thing as well?
No, it's Sean Connery
yeah.
at his greatest.
Oh no, I've seen
Yes.
bits and pieces of
Yes.
that where it's like super 70s psychedelic,
Yes.
like almost drug induced.
Oh, totally is. Totally
Yeah,
is.
yeah. I've
How
seen,
much sex and drugs do you want? No,
Oh.
no rock and roll.
Oh, man.
But
It's weird.
I've seen
that-
clips and
yeah.
I just assumed I wasn't getting the whole picture, so it didn't make
Oh,
sense.
dude, it's
Oh.
epic.
Sounds like
It's-
it didn't
it's
make sense
awesome.
no matter what, huh?
Yep.
No, that movie is just bizarre. That's all I
Guns
can
are
say.
good.
Bizarre.
The penis is bad. The penis is evil.
Oh,
Is that the line? The penis
I
is
think so.
evil,
I think so,
or
something
whatever
like that.
he says. Yeah. Guns are good.
It's. I remember we watched it recently.
We
It
did,
was about
yeah.
a year or two ago.
Yep.
And we were both sitting there. We're like, this is like a student art film.
Oh man.
That's
Yeah.
like it's like this
Yep.
is like John. Was it John Borman?
John Borman. Yeah.
And they just happen
This
to
is-
get
Yeah,
Sean
Excalibur.
Connery.
It's like
Yeah.
this is like an idea that like a student film director would have in the 70s.
High on drugs,
That he's
yeah.
on drugs and he's
Totally
like
high
talking with
on
his
drugs,
friends
yeah.
and he's like,
Yeah,
"Ooh,
yeah,
I
yeah.
want to make this sci-fi masterpiece, guys.
Yeah.
Dig this."
Yeah.
And like he actually got money to make it. you
Yeah,
know?
and it's so weird because some of the visuals are stunning. Like the cinematography is excellent.
Isn't like Sean Connery in like
Oh,
essentially like a mankini like the whole time
Yes.
essentially?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when he's riding around in that like giant Greek stone head, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Like some pretty cool effects.
Yep.
But yeah.
We
digress.
It's a good one, people.
Yeah.
I do have another question to bring
Yeah,
up. Though.
okay.
Yeah.
Books, miniseries, new movies. What is your guys' favorite fears that have popped up in it
Oh yeah.
as Pennywise portraying these things
Oh,
for
wow.
the children or adults?
Yep.
Man, you have to think about this one. I think I do like that. That Pennywise, he really has risen to like that pantheon of great movie monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
You
unquestionably.
got Frankenstein, Wolfman,
Yep.
Gillman,
Yep.
Mummy,
Yep.
and Pennywise.
Even
like he's-
before the new movies, I
unquestionably.
think he was already there.
yeah,
He's just solidified
yeah.
it.
yeah, and but you really get. I love that you mentioned this because you really get that he is the shape changing monster.
Yes.
That's his thing.
Right.
Mhm.
That might be the part that scares me the most. You just
Yeah.
put your finger on it.
Yeah.
Is that he is.
You can't. Pin
Although
him down.
he is a thing,
Yeah.
there is a thing there, right? He doesn't, the physics don't apply
Yeah.
because he's mind fucking you a lot of the time. So he's almost not corporeal
Yeah.
a lot of the times, especially when he's doing the shapeshift stuff, right?
Yeah.
And whether or not he's actually shapeshifting or that's just what he's showing you, that's terrifying to me, right? That's like, you can't control that. And,
Well, this kind of reminds me of when we were talking about The Shining, and not this. I'm sorry, not The Shining, The Exorcist.
yes,
And her whole thing was
Yep.
just like she just wants to fuck with you.
right.
That's her
Right.
whole thing. That's what's
Right.
driving her.
That line.
And that's freaky as hell when
Yep.
you really start to think about it.
Yep.
And that's really what Pennywise
Yep.
is doing too. He's
Yep.
just like,
Absolutely.
and he's hungry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That line in The Exorcist when he says, "Oh, but she said this," and he goes, and Max von Sydow's character says, "No, everything it says is a lie.
Yeah.
Everything." He's like, "You have to start with that premise, all right?" Yeah.
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 Craziness.
It's me. I'm your mother, Danny. Or whatever his name is. Oh gosh. Yeah.
But I'm trying to think. I mean, I think that old naked lady that really got
Yeah.
me. That really got me.
That was
I think-
super creepy.
I think there's something about, I think as we get older too, the old lady, the way she's set up, she's all
Yeah.
sweet. Come on in,
Yep.
let's have some tea.
Yep. Yep.
Grandmotherly.
Yep.
It's the sweetest thing. And then she just steadily gets worse and creepier and weirder and like that's, as a kid, that is a fear. old people are scary in a way, you know?
Yeah. Well,
And
it's the trust, right?
Yeah.
This is someone who you're supposed to be able to trust.
Right. And you
then
kind of
that's-
have that in the back of your head
Yeah.
is like, you know, my grandma's
Yeah.
so sweet, but what if she just suddenly snapped and like
Yeah,
started
right,
because like
Or what if you see that she's actually a creep? You know,
Yeah.
she's just a creepy, mean old person.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's something about that like just
Yeah.
very primally
Yeah.
affects me, I think. Like
Yep.
like the passage of time, all that stuff is just it's all there in that
Yeah.
old lady, you know.
Oh, that's great. That's a good one.
What about you,
Mr. Corleone?
Oh man, so I don't think mine's as in depth as yours, but the atmosphere, the way it was shot, and everything. Do you guys remember in chapter 1, the egg boy, where little Ben, the boy,
Yes.
he's in the basement of the library because he gets
Yes.
lured down there,
Oh shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
and that little
Yep.
headless boy
Yes.
comes down the stairs with his
Yep.
eggs. And
Yep.
first of all, that where they like the bottom
Yep.
part of the library is already creepy enough,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But then you have that like headless thing,
Yeah.
little kid chasing
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
That was great.
The tension
That
is
was-
so amped up right there. He's
Yeah.
just, you can tell he's in total freak. Ben is
Mm.
totally freaking out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he like turns and the librarian's right there. She's
That-
like,
yeah.
what are you doing down here?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah! He's just like jumping out of his skin,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Because then it's like, then he realizes that he didn't actually see that, right? That's frightening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because there's a scene like right before he runs into the librarian where
Yeah.
he turns around and it's Pennywise then.
Yes. Yeah.
Just
Yep.
for a second,
Yep.
and then he
Yep.
runs into her.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
That one.
That
way it
scene
was
is
shot.
also that whole the feeling of that scene really feels a lot like in chapter 2, where Eddie's mom is down in the pharmacy thing and she's all
yeah.
strapped up
Yeah,
and
yeah,
sweating,
yeah.
and then there's that
Uh-huh.
guy,
Leper.
The freaking leper.
yeah, with the chain in the
barfs
bag
in
over
his
head.
mouth. Yeah.
That
Yep.
I don't know, because that wasn't in the book either,
No.
was it?
Nope.
That
No, no,
is
no.
such a strange
Yeah.
nightmare image of
Yeah.
this like guy on a chain
Yes.
with a bag over his head, and he's like
Yep.
slowly getting closer and
Yep.
closer to you, and then you're trying to like untie your mom,
Right.
and she's
Yeah.
like, ah,
Well, the worst part, she's like, "Help
Yeah.
me, Eddie!
Yeah.
I can't get out!" Right? She's like,
Yeah.
she's the helpless one, but
Yeah.
he's the kid.
Hey, but you're
Yeah.
like,
I can't do
I
it,
know I
gotta
gotta
get
save
out
my
of
mom, but like,
Yeah.
I gotta get out of here because
Yeah,
that thing's
yeah.
coming, and you know,
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
just
yeah,
it just hits on all those fears.
Yeah.
So great.
That scene's filthy too. When he goes down there and there's like the syringes all,
Yeah.
the
Oh,
glass
yeah.
syringes are all broken.
His
Yeah.
worst
And he
nightmare.
falls
yeah.
over, and it's like, yeah. Because
Yeah.
in the book, that's when he's over by the Niebolt house, right?
Yeah.
And that's the only time he sees the leopard, I think, in
Yeah.
the book.
Yep.
Is when he that's in the first movie.
Yep.
And the leper
Yep.
wants to
Right.
have sex with him too. Remember?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Jesus.
There's all
When the
this
hobo
sex
starts
stuff in the
talking,
book, man.
first
Even
when
more
he's a hobo,
terrifying.
right? He's like, "Hey, you little kid."
Yeah.
I'll jerk you out
for $5
Yeah.
or something, right?
Yeah. Yep,
There's a lot of
that's it.
jerking off in the
Yeah,
book.
yeah,
too.
yeah. Yeah, gosh.
Jesus, what a filthy book.
Right.
I love it.
Right.
Did you have a favorite fear though, or?
I don't know.
Dr. K?
It's like, man, I'm gonna gape out, and when I listen back to this, I'm gonna be like, "Holy crap! Why didn't I say that here?"
Yeah. Well, while you're thinking, I actually something happened today.
Yes.
I was talking with people at work, and some people didn't find it as scary.
Yeah.
I think they were hoping, or
Yeah.
maybe they had a high expectation that it
Yeah.
should be like something out of like The Conjuring.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But today, wife was out front doing yard work, and the kid was in the back. And I was thinking of this, knowing that we were doing this today, and I had this fear that like I needed to watch him more.
Yeah,
It was almost
right.
a different fear. Like I wasn't scared for myself, but I was like, it's like my kid. Like
Sure.
Pennywise isn't real, but
And
what
he's
if
a
like
little
what if he
dude.
portrays himself to my child?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It was a weird feeling. I
You
was
have
like,
those moments
Yeah.
where you're like, "Well, what if he's in the backyard with his arm pulled off?"
and
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
the thing is like that. Then I had the realization. It's like, you know what? This movie's not scary like The Conjuring.
Yeah.
It's scary like you take stuff away from
That's
you later.
Yeah.
right.
And you're just like,
Psychological.
oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
It kind of lets your imagination run away with you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
that's the beauty of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. So and to bounce off The Conjuring, because I love that series. I think it's great.
So great.
But the thing is, you have a safety net in The Conjuring in that your two main characters are people who deal with these things.
Yeah.
And they have kind of a plan of attack
Yeah.
on how to deal with the supernatural. In it's the exact opposite. You've got first kids who have no idea how to deal with it, and then adults who aren't ready
Yeah.
to go back and have to deal with it again, right?
Yeah.
Except for Mike. Mike's the one guy, and then you find out that he's not exactly telling you
Yeah.
the whole thing, which
picture.
makes it even, this is where I think I'm totally sympathetic with Richie in both in all of it, right? Because Richie he becomes super cynical as an adult, right?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
oh, so I think this was where I think I really like the movies better, in that Richie is a stand-up comic, right?
Yeah.
Which makes his cynicism work perfectly. In the book, he's a DJ,
That's right.
and I thought that sucked,
Yeah.
right? It's like he's a famous LA DJ.
Well,
But his cynicism doesn't come across the way that it does by making him a comedian.
Yeah,
right?
for
Fits
sure.
way better.
For
Yeah,
sure.
dude.
For sure.
And the fact that it was Harry Anderson in the original, who was a total cynic, right?
Yeah.
That guy was cynic through and through and through. That was his whole stand-up was like, I'm going to make fun of how people are ripping you off.
Yeah.
That was his whole thing, right? It's
Yeah.
like, I was the con artist.
Yep.
We're going to make fun of cons because people don't like being ripped off. Very cynical.
Yeah.
That's what I loved about his character so much, was that, like, he's, I forget where I was going
No,
with this
you're
now,
right.
but-
He's cynical, and
Yeah.
it makes so much more
Oh,
sense
yeah.
in the book.
He,
right?
Yeah, and he's the one, right? He's not a voice of reason in the way that you want it to be a voice of reason. He's not saying, here's how we're going to defeat the monster.
Yeah.
He's saying, we're getting the hell out of here.
Yeah.
In both of them, right? Like in the first one, he's like, okay, it was nice seeing y'all guys. I've got a plane at 5 a.m. I'm going to bed and I'm getting out of here.
Even as a kid, he was the
Yeah.
first one to be like,
That's
why
right.
why are we doing this?
Yeah.
That's right. And
This is
then,
messed
yeah,
up.
him and Bill get in the fist fight. You know,
Yep,
he's like,
yep.
no, I'm fucking out of here. Piss off,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
This
And,
guy's leaking hamburger helper.
Yeah.
I love that line.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's really and even
Yeah.
when he's an adult and he introduces himself and he's
Yeah.
like, "Wow, you guys look fantastic.
Yeah.
What the hell happened to me?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that,
It was
Yep.
like he's just
Yep.
so real.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, I love too when he has, you know, after he gets off the phone and has his flashback and pukes, and then he has to go out on stage and
Yeah.
he stands there and he's like,
bombs.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. I
That's-
forgot the joke.
Yeah, that's got its finger on
Yeah.
like, this is somebody who's terrified, right?
Yeah,
This person's like
It all came
having
back.
a very hard time coming to grips. That was
Yep.
done really good. Yeah.
Well, it was so smart because in the book, he's all he does is impressions all the time.
Yeah, that's
and they're
right.
all like
Yeah.
racist impressions
yeah,
too.
right. Right.
So like
Yeah.
the filmmakers in both times are just
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
well,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
not going to translate to film.
Right. We
so-
can't get that on TV.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And he really wasn't that funny either in the book, you know.
No,
it was
nah.
just more like kind of annoying
Yeah.
impressions, you know. He's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
like, oh, he's doing like an Irish cop voice and all that stuff.
Yep.
And so they got rid of all that,
Yep.
and they're just like, you know, he's a comedian, and
Yep.
and he's just complaining all the time.
Right.
That's funny.
Right. Which I think is like that's his character is probably the most realistic in that that's how probably like I could totally see me being that
Yeah,
guy, right?
most people
being
would-
like,
would
okay,
act like
look,
that,
this
yeah.
is what are we
This
talking
is-
about here?
yeah.
And so when Harry Anderson has that line in the first one, when he's like, well, Mike, this is great. You got all this stuff. You got freaking helmets. You got flashlights. He's like, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, if you think we're going to go back down there,
Yeah.
he's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then Bill's like, no, hey, we haven't even talked about it yet. And he's like, we don't need to talk about anything. This
Yeah.
is nuts.
Yep.
I want to go back down there and fight a giant monster and die, you know?
Yep.
But that's, I think I could totally see, like
Yeah.
if it was actually happening,
Yeah.
guaranteed somebody is going to say that, and probably, you know, most people are going to be like, no, I'm out of here. You're going to be Stan, unfortunately, you know, if
Yeah.
it was real.
Venkman, you made a good question before the podcast that who would we see ourselves in?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And
Right.
kind of jumping off of you, Dr. K, I think Richie is the character I'd be because
Me too.
as a kid, that's how I talked.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
I love the fact that all the
Right.
dialogue in the first part
Oh, dude,
as
it's
kids,
so, it's
that's
exactly,
exactly how me and my friends
Yeah.
talked.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
No filter.
Yep.
And then even as
That's
an
right.
adult, not the comedian side,
Yeah.
but just the way he acts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exactly how I'd be like, I don't want
Right.
to do that.
Right.
I'm out of here.
Yeah. Right. For sure. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we all want to be Ben, right? You know, Ben's kind of the one who's got his shit most together and but no, I definitely identify the most with Richie too. I think it's the cynic in me.
Yeah. It'd be, for me too. I'd be Richie, or you know, I do like Bill in the miniseries though, not
Yeah.
Bill in the
Yep.
movie so much, but
Yes.
Bill's character in the miniseries.
Yep.
I identify with him a lot too, just
Right.
because of the older brother kind of feeling
Right.
too. You know,
Sure. Yeah. Yep.
and the fact of like, you know, whenever I got together with a bunch of friends, I'd try to organize things, or I try to, you know,
Yeah,
he has that
sure.
kind of aspect to him where it's
Absolutely,
like
he does. Yeah.
he wants to he just wants to make sure everybody's like working
together.
together, you know. Yeah. So
Yeah, we haven't talked about Jonathan Brandis, who plays Bill's character as a kid. Unfortunately, somebody who did actually commit suicide back in the 90s.
It's crazy.
An actor, but he was in a bunch of cool...
He
especially with Seth Green, too. He did a bunch of stuff with Seth Green.
No kidding.
Besides this movie, including Nerf commercials, which if you look those up on YouTube, they are freaking hilarious. They both have freaking Mel Gibson mullets from hell.
Nice.
Like, let's go do some Nerf. All right, it's extreme.
That's what you had to say in the 90s.
Yeah, you had
extreme.
to. If it wasn't extreme, it was like, who cares, man? Is it? I mean, exactly how extreme is it?
Yeah.
Is it like Rob Liefeld's extreme, or is it, is it just like Chewy Nougat extreme?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
The 90s all over again.
Yeah. They even had an extreme Ghostbusters. Remember that?
They did. I do remember that.
That was a cartoon, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It's pretty awful.
Yeah. Ghostbusters. Oh man, that whole poor Ghostbusters, right? I mean, it was the British TV show. Then it was the cartoon of the British TV show.
Yep.
Then it was the movie, which really only took the name but had nothing to do with a talking gorilla and a bunch of like, oh yeah, dude, it's so convoluted and crazy. Yeah, that's why the cartoon was called The Real Ghostbusters, which was supposed to be, Venkman and and Egon and everybody, because Filmation already had the rights to
and
do.
They were worried about
the original
people
Ghostbusters.
Assuming
they were on at the same time, and
I heard too, like the Filmation was all ready to be like, yeah, we're ready to do a Ghostbusters.
They
cartoon.
were, and they had heard that was what's his name? Lou Scheimer was the main dude over at Filmation. Yeah. So he was in on knowing that. So who was the studio then? It wasn't Sony then. Picked up the rights to the movie, and so he was the one smart enough to jump and
Columbia.
Columbia, yes. Yeah. He's like, holy crap, I just heard that they got the rights. We need to jump on that right now. And he pushed it through to get the cartoon, because he's like, look, this is going to blow up. Yeah. And we want to cash in on it. Yep. Smart move. It was super savvy, but unfortunately his version sucked. Just like the TV show. The live action, not half as good as the Young Ones show. Or Benny Hill, for that matter. Yeah. Or Doctor Who. But sorry, I digress.
Oh man.
Well, what else? I mean, did we hit everything?
I do have one question. This is the fun one.
Go.
So, TV series. Forget the year it came out, but Chapter 1 was released 27 years after.
Yes.
That was a nice little homage there,
right?
So,
Brilliant.
27 years from now.
Yes.
With the actors we have, who would you guys cast if you were making Pennywise? Which actor would you cast as Pennywise?
Whoa.
With who we have now, not necessarily.
You mean who we have now as like a kid or something? Or
no. Like with the actors we have available now. Let's just say you were making it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who would you cast as Pennywise? Who do you think would be a good Pennywise?
Yeah. Right. This is funny too, because this is exactly what if you go back 5 years, probably 6 years, this is the conversation filmmakers were like, because this is monumental, right? Yeah. I mean, when they had to decide that, hey, not only are we going to cast Bill, but they had to go all in on the media on backing him, right? Yeah. Because I mean, that could have really hurt the first movie if they didn't be like, oh yeah, this is our guy. This is Pennywise.
It was kind of like the Dark Knight Heath Ledger.
Yeah, right? Absolutely it was. Absolutely it was.
Yeah. Because
they had to really sell it.
Yep. Because nobody could be convinced. Like, how can you? And I remember thinking that too. I'm like, how can you be anything better than Jack Nicholson?
Right.
Like, he is the Joker.
Right.
And then they proved it.
Yeah, man. Right. And now we're gonna triple dip and have what's his name, Johnny Cash. Joaquin Phoenix.
I'm just gonna say this now. I'm not interested in seeing that movie at all.
Oh, really?
I second that.
Yeah.
Not that I think it'll be horrible.
Yeah.
No, I think it'll be good, but
so my concern, and I don't know if you have the same one, is the reason Heath Ledger's Joker was so good is not just that he got the Joker down, but he had Batman to play off of.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
And the key to his character in that whole trilogy was that you didn't know his origin. He was constantly telling you a different story, and that was creepy too.
Brilliant.
That was great.
Yeah,
he would always tell you like, "This is why I'm the Joker," and then it would be always different. That's awesome.
Very true. To
I don't want to go back
too.
and see how he became the Joker. That to me is just going to be a really sad, depressing story. You know,
right?
I'm sure the acting is great. I'm sure the cinematography is great. Everything is going to be a solid movie. It might even win some Oscars and stuff. But I'm going to have a hard time dragging myself to see that because I'm like, this is going to be a huge downer.
Right.
There's nothing, everything I've seen about it is just like, oh God. Maybe I'll just watch the news instead if I want to kill myself.
Yep. I wonder too. The only red flag I had, I didn't consider it nearly as much as you guys did until this very second. But the one thing that did immediately strike me about it, having seen the preview, was that with all of the social and political dialogue about mental health in this country right now, I'm wondering if that's not exactly the vehicle for this movie.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a comment on mental health,
right,
more than it's a comment on a character development necessarily of a supervillain.
That's a good point. And
and so that might make it fantastic.
Might hurt the character of the Joker, though, right?
That's exactly what I think.
They're so focused on that, and they don't pay as much attention to the Joker.
Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah. I just heard this cool thing. I'll just say this really briefly because we are digressing a lot. We're on the Joker right now.
Yes.
We started with it.
That's why you listen to us, people.
But so have you heard of this comic called The Killing Joke?
Absolutely.
By Alan Moore.
Yes.
And,
own it.
The Batman one, right?
I've got the first print of it.
Okay. So have you ever heard this theory before? Why is it called The Killing Joke?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense, right? Because
nobody gets killed.
Nobody gets killed in there, and it's the origin of the Joker and all this stuff. Well, guess what? If you go back to that last page of that book, right?
Yes.
Joker tells the joke to Batman, and they both start laughing, right?
Yeah.
And they're laughing, and you can see the ha 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 going through the panels. And then there's also the ee of like of ambulance coming or a police car coming because they're going to arrest the Joker or something. But then suddenly the laughter just stops, and the ee keeps going. So right there is where Batman killed him. So it's the last Joker story. That was the Killing Joke.
Oh, weird.
Holy crap.
And so this theory is attributed to Grant Morrison. He said this, and Alan Moore has never
confirmed
or denied it.
Yeah.
But they were saying like, well, he go back and look at the history of what Alan Moore was doing because that was right around Crisis and everything.
Yeah.
DC was going to reboot everything.
Oh yeah.
So they were saying just kill everybody off, like give all these like final stories to all these characters.
Right.
And so he wrote that as a final story.
Yeah.
So that, but it came out years later.
Yeah.
So that's really what he was going for, I think. Yeah. This is the last Joker story.
I'm gonna
great insight.
Yeah, that's great.
Great.
It's amazing.
That's a cool theory.
It's Grant Morrison. I can't claim credit for it. That's pretty amazing. Right. Yeah. Yeah, so go read that, everybody. And then go read It, too.
Oh, my goodness. Please read It. Do yourself a favor.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as it looks.
It really isn't. It's daunting.
It's just a page-turner, though.
And suddenly, you're just like eating a bag of Doritos.
Yes. Yep.
It's going to go. It's going to disappear.
Yep. Yep. I remember the first time I read it, I was guilty.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, this book is... It's a fantastic read, but the material is terrible.
Yeah.
Time and time again, like I was getting seriously creeped out.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't put it down.
Yeah.
You know so my favorite part in the book. Here we go. Favorite part in the book, which they kind of told in It Part 1, but they didn't do it justice. I don't think was the Henry Hockstetter character. Not Henry Hockstetter. What's his first name?
Harry? No.
Oh, yeah. Hochstetler or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a little serial killer.
Patrick
Hockstetter. Thank you.
Patrick Hockstetter.
So the character of Patrick Hockstetter in Part 1 is one of Henry Bauer's friends.
He's killed off pretty early in the book.
And he does, right? So he's the one who goes down with the spray can and the Zippo, and they're all looking for
for
the
book,
kids.
Though, he's so creepy.
Yeah,
in the book, he's horrible.
Yeah,
he kills his little brother, right? Because he's basically he's a psychopath.
He's a serial killer
He's a serial killer, but as a kid. So you're seeing like a psychopath before he's really come into his own. But he's a horrible horrible person,
Yeah.
and he's only a little kid.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's
demented.
He's like,
He's killing animals and like.
Which
doing
is
all
how
the classic-
it eventually kills him, and
Yeah.
that part was horrific for him. When I read it the first time, I was like, this totally freaked me out, right? So he's got this in the woods where he and his buddies play. Oh, the whole thing with them jerking each other off too.
See what I said?
It's
There's a lot of
disturbing.
jerking off in this book too.
So it's him, and I think that's Henry, right?
Yeah.
That's the two of them. It is.
Yeah.
It is. So they all go down. All the bad kids go down to play down in the Barrens, but in a different spot.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's in the Barrens, or it's in the dump or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So he doesn't tell any of his buddies, but he's got a refrigerator. It is at the dump. That's why there's a fridge down there,
Yeah,
right? And so he's got this fridge, and he will kill animals, and he'll stick them in there. And he tries to get Henry to come and look at him. He's like, "Hey, man, come check out what I do and all this," being real shifty about it. And Henry is not really into it. He's like, "That's kind of weird."
Yeah.
But then there's that whole scene of where they're like, they're getting intimate with each other, and they're both jerking off, and then he reaches over to grab Henry's dick, and then Henry freaks out.
He's like, that's too far, and then he leaves.
Yeah.
And then,
It's disturbing. It's the whole thing. But anyway, one of the times he goes back down to the fridge to see his collection of dead animals that he's tortured, puppies and cats and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He opens it up and he sees these little leeches in there are crawling around, and then he starts it's like an LSD trip, right?
Yeah.
He's kind of like looking at them. He's like, wow, that's weird. There's leeches in there. And then they grow bat wings.
Yeah.
And they start to fly, and then they all start flying all over his face, and
Yeah.
then it ends up being it, of course,
Yeah.
which kills him.
Was that in the movie? It chapter 1?
No. That's when he gets caught by it down in the sewers when they're looking for.
So we still haven't had
looking for the kids. It was like
They're looking for the kids.
Like
that's it. Yeah.
after the rock fight.
Yeah. After the rock
Okay,
fight.
around there.
Because it lures him in with
That's
the
right.
kids' voices.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's got the
Yep. And he goes off the one way, and he's got his lighter, and he's like,
and the, like yeah.
and then the one time he does it, you see Pennywise's eyes back there, and he's like, oh.
Well, because remember he has that one like girl that he killed earlier in the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
He has her like as a zombie.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Yep. Ah,
Yeah.
it's great.
That's
It's
great. But so we still haven't seen a cinematic version of that scene though, where all
No.
those little bat
Oh, none
things
of
are-
that. Yeah. None
That
of
was the
little...
grossest, because then they were like all
dude.
leeches too, so
Yeah.
they were like sucking up his blood, and they were
Yep.
all getting big and like popping and
and
stuff,
bursting. Yeah.
Oh,
and
that's
he's just
awesome.
covered with them,
Yep.
And it's like,
And that's how he gets taken out.
Yeah,
of the
that's
book.
how
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, that whole idea that it can be anything, really. I mean,
that might be in the supercut or something like
oh,
it,
that'd,
right?
that'd be great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We can only hope.
yeah.
Yep.
Man, that was a crazy scene. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's full of them. This is a great work. It's
Yep.
it's one of the greats. What else can we say?
So casting though, if
Yes.
you guys had to cast it. Is there
Oh,
any-
right.
Is there
Oh,
any
yeah, yeah.
people
We
in the-
totally avoided your question.
Oh,
Thank
no,
you for
no
keeping
worries.
us topical.
No worries. I'm curious what
Yeah.
you
So
guys
who
think.
is Pennywise? Who really is? Who can do?
Yeah. Who would you cast?
I mean, Jim Carrey could easily.
Oh, yeah.
do it,
Yeah,
right.
man,
That's a good
right.
one.
Jim Carrey could
Right.
really knock it out. I think.
Right.
Somebody like really animated like that.
Yeah.
I feel like he kind of already did it when he played the Riddler in that
Yeah.
bad Batman movie.
Yes, you're right.
Like
you're
he
right.
kind of already
Yeah.
was Pennywise in a way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yep.
I think Ron Perlman. No, I'm just playing.
Yes, yes.
He can
Before
do.
we pushed record, we were going on about Ron Perlman.
He can
for
do
quite a
anything,
while.
but no.
Yeah.
I think Sam Rockwell
Yeah, oh
would
yeah.
Ooh,
actually be
okay.
a pretty good Pennywise.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe back when he was younger, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think he could do it. He always plays those weird roles really well.
Right.
Did
Right.
you ever hear Guillermo del Toro's quote about Ron Perlman?
No, as Hellboy. Yeah.
He said, no, you don't get how much I love Ron Perlman. He's like, if he came to my house in the middle of the night and he's telling me, hey, I killed somebody, I don't know what to do, I would look at him in the eyes and I would say, where's a shovel?
That's great. That's so great.
That's awesome. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I love that quote.
Yep.
That's how I feel about you guys, I
Me
would get a
too.
shovel for you guys.
Me too.
Especially for Ron Perlman, if you showed
Yeah.
up now.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yes.
But it would kind of depend on who he killed, though, too.
Yeah. Right. I don't know this person, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
What about you, Dr. K?
Dang it. I'm really drawing a blank. I can't think. I think it's because I hold Pennywise in such high esteem.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's not that I don't know 10 million actors.
Mm-hmm.
But do you know what? Okay, I'm gonna go with an oddball one.
Yeah,
Because here we go.
Go for it.
I just hit me. Okay, so there's a Pennywise type character in one of my all-time favorite horror movies that we have not done on this channel yet, but we will, and that's Demon Knight. And so I'm gonna go with Billy Zane.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I don't know
Because
that one.
Billy Zane, I'm gonna pick 2 horror movies where he is brilliant, and that's Demon Knight, where he's the demon, right?
And Titanic.
And no, and Dead Calm.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't
He is
seen either of those.
absolutely
Oh, he's
terrible.
awesome in that,
He's
yeah.
Dead Calm has a cast of 3 people, and he is fantastic in it. Yes, Nicole Kidman, Billy Zane, and Sam Neill.
Nicole
Sam
Nicole
Neill,
Kidman.
right?
Enough said.
Sam Neill,
I'll
is that
watch
his name?
Yeah.
Sam Neill,
yeah.
right? Yeah. Yeah.
Jurassic Park guy, right?
Yes.
Or in the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah. Very young Nicole Kidman. Yeah.
Yeah.
That had to be one of her first. It's probably what, 1989.
Before she met Tom Cruise.
Yep. Yep.
Wow. Yeah.
But I'll say Billy Zane.
I'll have to check those out.
Who would you say?
Sam Rockwell.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Sam
yeah.
Rockwell. Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah. You know, I was just thinking while you guys were talking though is you know that guy that's on SNL and he looks like really anemic kind of. He's got like the bags under his eyes.
yeah, I forget what's his name.
It's like Ben Davidson or something like that, or something Davidson, I think, or Davison.
I'm looking it up
Yep.
here because I'm.
Have you seen that guy?
No.
I mean,
he's
he
currently on SNL?
Yeah, he looks actually kind of looks a lot
He
like
looks super
Skarsgård.
like almost like Skeletor.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I think he could really do a great,
Yeah.
but he looks a lot like Skarsgård though too. So
Yeah.
He
it's
does.
kind of an easy choice, but.
Man, let's see if I can find him here.
You know what'd be fun though too is to choose somebody that's like very trustable and like kind of fatherly or something, and then see how they would do that. You know, because like, Tim Curry kind of had that quality a little bit where you know because you like him, you know,
Right.
But then he's like, no, you can't trust him at all. You know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of an actor that could kind of portray that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford as Pennywise.
Just like the grouchiest Pennywise you've ever seen.
Like, I'll flow down here. Come on.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure
seen
Bill Skarsgård is Soren Skarsgård's younger brother, right?
Yeah, he's in the Skarsgård family.
Yeah.
I
Yep. I'm almost sure of it.
because his dad's a famous actor too. I forget his name.
Stellan or something like that, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Have you ever seen that Harrison Ford thing where that magician's in his kitchen and he does like some trick and he pulls a card out of his orange, you know? And then Harrison Ford is just looking at him. He's like,
Yeah. Fuck you.
Yeah, he's like,
yeah.
get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Was this a movie?
No, it was like
No.
a documentary about this. About
Yeah,
this
magician.
guy.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. It's hilarious.
And he's like,
yeah.
you can tell like he's not acting, you know. He's just like, get the fuck out of here.
Well, 27 years from now, Harrison Ford will probably still be alive. We'll just make him Pennywise.
I'm telling you, in 27 years, we're gonna have all of these great actors
Yeah.
de-aged.
Yeah, I know.
right?
Well, we
They're
got to
all
talk
gonna
about
be,
that too. We got to
you
talk
know?
about that. Yep.
I mean, we're
Yep.
gonna see a new Indiana Jones movie with a 30-year-old Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be,
Yep.
Yeah.
it's gonna look real. It's gonna be like,
So Mr.
Stunt-
Corleone really pointed that out afterwards. He'd asked
Chapter 2, right?
in chapter 2 if
Yeah.
we'd noticed the de-aging. And the funny thing was, I when you asked me that, I was like, I couldn't think of a part. And then on the drive home, I was like, I knew.
It was all the flashback scenes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so
The special effects in it were great.
No, you know what?
I don't wanna,
It wasn't. It wasn't.
I don't want to
Yeah.
just talk smack about
Yeah.
them because they were great.
Yes.
But the de-aging and the flashbacks in it shoot because those kids since 2007
Right.
had aged like the young Richie. I
Yeah.
forget his name. It's like Finn Wolf.
Wolf,
Yeah.
Wolfhead or Wolf.
He's in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
He had like a giant growth spurt.
Yeah.
He was like
He's
a tall,
way
lanky
taller.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they kind of really de-aged him to
that's
fit
true.
the 2017 one.
Yep.
And there was a few times where it stuck out.
Yeah.
He looked a little bit like a Muppet.
Yeah. Even Ben, the kid who played young Ben,
Yep.
he had looked like a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Since the first one,
Right.
or at least grown into it.
Sure.
They had to put it back on.
Had to plump
Yep.
him back up. Yep. The time that I noticed it watching it, and I thought it was just bad makeup, but I don't even know.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. It was obviously they CG'd him, but it was Eddie's character when he falls through. Remember when they're all kids and they go to the house on Nebolt Street, and then he falls through. You know, he takes off and he falls through and hits the table and breaks his arm. There's that shot of where he sits up and it looks like his face was dirty.
Yeah.
But then I was like, oh no, that was totally the CG
yeah,
making him look younger than he was.
Yeah.
So it was like a red flag. I was kind of like, that looks weird.
That's weird. Yeah.
And then I didn't even think about it until you said something.
That
Guaranteed.
house was great though.
Oh,
wasn't
dude.
it? Like,
Yeah.
man, that house was perfect.
Another thing they did so much better in this than because they don't even talk. The only time you even talk about the house in Neibolt Street is when Stan sees it as a kid. Yeah. They don't ever go back to it.
Yeah.
Chapter 1 had a lot more prominent. Chapter 2, they only go in there briefly to literally just go down.
Right, to go down the hole. Yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah.
But in chapter 1, man, that house was
big
great.
time.
All
big
those
time.
exterior shots of it. It was like the perfect haunted house.
Yes.
You know? Like that
was the first time we get the 3 doors. Yeah. Right. Scary, not scary, very scary.
Yep.
And I like how the kids figure it out.
Yeah.
And then 27 years later, Pennywise is ready for it.
Right.
He's like, oh, I know what they did last time.
Yes.
Switch it up.
Yep.
That scene in chapter 2 where they open it and it looks like just a closet. And then you hear this like skipping and it's literally like half a corpse.
Yep.
Like, oh no.
Nope.
Yeah.
But I like that. I like the fact that they brought that back.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. The one thing they didn't bring back, which would have been cool in the book, is they have the standpipe. They talk about that a lot in the book too. That's one of the other like horrible things. And so I don't ever see standpipes here in Portland, but the town I grew up in, they were freaking everywhere.
Standpipes?
Yeah. So what it is it's a gigantic water tower that sits on the ground. So usually when you see water towers, especially back like in the South and stuff, they're up on a giant stand, you know, and they're up there. But like in Bakersfield, where I grew up, we had standpipes all over the place. And so they're just, think of like a pipe, except that it's huge. It's like a 200-foot around.
Okay.
And you put water in it. And then gravity feeds that down underground, and then that creates water pressure, and it goes out. So in the book, they talk about it a lot because one of the main massacres happens at the standpipe where these kids fall in. Do you remember this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kids fall in and they all drown, but
they can't get out.
You know, they have to figure out that was actually it, killing a bunch of people off.
Oh.
And it was it's called the disaster at the dairy standpipe or something.
Oh, I wonder.
But
I wonder if we go back to chapter 1. Do you remember when Ben's looking through the book of all the things?
Yeah, I bet that is in there.
I bet
because every 27 years,
and
he's like looking back.
Right. And,
I'm gonna have to check that out.
I bet you're right.
Is like in there because
I think it is because I know it is in the book too, right?
Because one of the things I liked that they did was it chapter 1. Do you remember when Richie in the haunted house? I love it. Gets separated and he's in that room with all those clowns.
Yes.
If you guys look closely, there's the Tim Curry clown in the background.
I did notice that when I just rewatched.
I love that. I love the fact that like Tim Curry in the new movies is essentially just a 27 years earlier.
Yeah, that's
he
really
changes
cool.
his clown look.
Like
that was a cool concept.
It is actually.
I love that because that's the whole. It's that gets back to it's just trying to figure out how to trick you, right? It's all about deception and like plus trying to figure out these things. But you're absolutely right. Like I tried this back in the day, and now I'll be this thing.
Well, that's the thing too is like if you think about it, then like. Maybe every clown in that room was him.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Like, going back every 27 years to whenever, right? Like that's a cool concept. It's like essentially those are all the different clowns he's tried.
Yeah. In the miniseries, they have that when they're looking through the book and Mike is showing and he's like, "Look, here's Pennywise in whatever 1901. Here's Pennywise," and it's like he has all these like little flyers and stuff that reference it, and then that's when it flips to the flashback scene where he's in the book. And you see it in black.
I remember
and white.
that scene because it ends with like the hand coming out of the book.
Yeah. Gimmicky, but fucking awesome.
Yeah,
really awesome.
It works.
Yeah.
I wish they would have used that house more in chapter 2.
Yeah, that was great.
They could have at least had some of the artifacts there to make use of it because what a cool set.
Yeah.
To just not use it very much at all.
Right.
Yeah.
In the second part.
Right.
Yep.
They could have taken out that whole carnival scene.
Yeah, dude. There
and maybe
we go.
a few
you
others
just figured
and
it
added
out.
more stuff at the house. I would have loved that.
Right.
Or not. Yeah, not even have the kid go to that house instead of the carnival.
Yeah,
man,
that would have actually been way better.
That would have been a way cooler scene.
Yeah. Pennywise just lures him in there.
Yeah.
Have somebody's artifact there.
For how important the house is. I mean, it's on the well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like the whole basis of where he came up out of the ground, right?
Yeah, and it's a set they built, at least for some of the interior shots. Like, I would try to use that as much as possible.
Heck yeah.
Especially with how good it looks.
I know. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh man, I was thinking the same thing on that scene where when Eddie breaks his arm. It's disturbing. You know, he lands and he's passed out, and then they leave, and then they come back to him and he wakes up. He like sits up and he looks at his arm. He's like, "Aah!"
And then it's followed by a great scene of it coming out of the fridge.
Yes.
The way he moves out of that.
Yep.
So good.
And then he's like right in Eddie's face, about to like really eat him, and that's when the kids figure out the door, and he does that like, wait a second.
Yep. He's like,
stops what he's doing.
Yep.
So good.
So what did you guys think of the ending of chapter 2?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember.
Yeah, that's right.
So
because there's nothing with the bike.
So
you know,
some people that I've talked to have seen it, love it. Some people don't. Essentially, just them bad mouthing it into submission and then taking its heart out, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you guys think of that?
That was pretty. I mean, that works. What was the last scene though? I can't remember.
I mean, the last scenes of the movies were mostly just like, you know, them.
They're all leaving
their lives after, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is for me. It was another one where you've got 3 different versions. You got the book version, which is totally radically different from the miniseries and from the movie, right? So in the book, the entire town of Derry like falls into a sinkhole and shit's blowing up and it's the end of the world. Which is kind of over the top. I think it would be laughable now, right? Like turns into Dante's Peak or something.
That might not work as a movie adaptation.
But he still gets her on the bike though, and that whole scene.
That does still. Yep. And so then that's what I was going to say. And then in the miniseries, they really focus just instead of like the town going into total disaster. So I think in the book, what he's getting at is like once you get there's a vacancy created when when it is destroyed, and then the town is like this horrible leftover carcass without it, right? And it starts crumbling and the earthquake. It's a giant earthquake. That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, so then they still have the bike scene though, where he's trying to bring Audra back, and that's what they focus in on the miniseries. Yeah. And obviously Audra has 0 part in the movies. I was a little bit like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I really liked in the movie that Mike doesn't end up in the hospital. I thought that was one of the parts in the miniseries I really thought was lame.
Yeah, could have just taken that out.
Yeah, they just like you don't need any of that. You don't have to get rid of him. It's kind of actually way more important if you keep him.
Yeah,
you know they kept Eddie getting stabbed in the mouth.
That was
and
great.
I was worried because I thought, oh man, they're going to put Eddie in the hospital and he's the one who dies.
I do
right?
like how they mention it though.
Yeah.
And then it's just kind of like shrugged off, like we should get you to the hospital. And
I know.
Something along the
and
lines
he's
of
like a super hypochondriac, right?
Yeah,
He's just gotten knifed in the mouth. But I thought it was cool that he is the one character who dies in everything. You know, that stayed the same. But yeah, I don't know how you really could have done it different. I mean, it was pretty awesome. I thought that when he turns into the spider, it's so much cooler in this one. I mean, so it's 1,000 times better than
that
the
spider was awful in the miniseries.
It's just garbage, dude. It was terrible.
Like you could literally see
it's
them
so disappointing
when they tip it over. It like doesn't move. It's such a such a prop.
It's so stilted.
So
I mean,
stilted.
and it's like every time you see it, you just imagine the grip back there with a stick moving the leg.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, this is.
Have you ever
sucks, dude.
Have you ever seen Ed Wood?
Oh God, yes.
Bela Lugosi,
Such a
he's supposed to be in this
movie.
monster movie, and he's got like this rubber octopus.
Yep.
That's on him.
God.
And then Johnny Depp's like, I just move the arms around, make it looks like it's trying to kill you. And then he's like, "Fuck you! You get in here!"
Yeah.
And that's just
It's
that brought
such a great movie.
that whole scene came back to me when he said that.
Anybody listening, if you haven't seen Ed Wood, you must see it. It's
Ed Wood is probably the best movie about making movies.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
none.
I mean, the real movie
Tim
is so
Burton,
bizarre.
Right? Yep. Tim Burton did that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, the real movie is so bizarre. Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Oh gosh, dude, the guy was such a cool person and just so his story is so unreal. Yeah, that it was great to make a movie about it, right? Because it's almost unbelievable.
I know
material anyway.
It totally is.
But
yeah. So that spider was a lot like that rubber octopus.
Yes,
Wood, I think. It was just like I cannot take this seriously.
Yeah. I think I was so stoked on the fact that the monster at the end of the movie was so good. I didn't actually mind that it kind of just peters out and
I
mean,
mean,
we're all going home. And
I don't think it was bad. I liked the ending a lot,
Yeah.
and I do like the fact that they ended it with all of them in the lake, essentially washing off.
Sure.
The infestation that is Pennywise.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was a cool little moment.
That was good.
I'm torn though, because I really like the bike scene.
Yeah.
But I kind of hate the character of Audra. I kind of know why they didn't include her, because she's such a useless character, you know.
She is. She really is.
But I really like it in the book.
Maybe they could have done it differently with a
somehow,
different character.
Somehow made her character stronger or something, because she's just so whiny and so like.
Yeah, and she's only there to tether Bill's character. That's all she's there to do. And you don't. She's not necessary. Yeah.
Yeah, she's there to play the damsel in distress almost, right?
Right. Exactly right.
But him on the bike with her and like getting her over her problem and then you know in the miniseries too, it's so cheesy and 80s, but it's great. You know, like they're right in the middle of the traffic and every car stops.
But cars are coming in every single direction into the same intersection.
In the same intersection, and they're all honking and they're just like making out. And it's like
in downtown Vancouver.
I mean, that's such a like it's so Hollywood, but I love it.
That's 80s.
It's so 80s.
Oh, dude, Hollywood TV too.
Yeah,
particularly TV.
Totally.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's just the nostalgia.
I'm with you.
Whatever. It's that's like a really strong ending.
Yes.
Compared to this, the movie's ending because I can't even remember the last scene. I honestly can't remember the last scene.
I think it is them swimming, right? It's them going back to the rock quarry.
That's not the last scene. The last scene is them like Bill with. He's like finished, like he knows how to finish a book.
Yeah,
it's like they tie off all the loose ends.
Richie goes and like carves his boyfriend's name.
Yeah. So what did you guys think about that?
Was because I was trying to remember. Because they're saying like he's gay, right?
Well, I don't know that they are though. I think they might be saying that he had feelings as a kid for Eddie.
For that particular right. Oh, for Eddie.
Oh, for Eddie, because it's R&E.
So from what I've heard,
I never got that.
Yeah. That's the whole thing with them in the hammock together. Yeah,
and they're always picking on each other.
And that's when Pennywise has that line too, and he's like,
picking on each other.
Yeah, when Pennywise goes to Richie and he goes, he's like, I could tell them a secret about you, huh, Richie?
Yeah.
Before we go any further, I do love the fact that Richie's, when they goes to collect his artifact, he's like the one person that has his little encounter with Pennywise out in the open.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like nowhere's safe.
That's right.
Love that.
That's right.
But I mean, I thought it was fine. I guess. Yeah. The internet's pretty. People on the internet. I'm not sure if the book follows this, but they always thought that Eddie and Richie had a thing they didn't really go into more.
Right.
And so they touched base on it, but didn't go too far into it.
Right. Yeah. And see, so I couldn't. That was my only beef, because I've read the book twice, but I can't specifically remember that Stephen King was getting at that, but then I could be wrong too. I don't and I thought they were really subtle about it in the movie. They only. I think the other thing too, when he has that flashback where he's playing Street Fighter, and that other kid comes over, and he's kind of like, it's got that really awkward, like, does he have feelings for that other kid?
That's what I thought. I thought that's what he was carving in the thing. I thought it was that kid's name from the arcade.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
That's what I was thinking.
So I don't know about you. I actually, before they showed it was an E that he was carving, I thought he was actually had feelings for Stanley.
Yeah, right.
Because a lot of his scenes are like
because they're both Jewish, right? Yeah. That's the thing. They're always together.
Yeah. And he went to Stanley's like that's not church. What's it called? No. And he has a flashback of that. And so I thought that's where they were going.
Right.
And then it's Eddie, and it's like,
yeah.
And that makes more sense actually, because they constantly were like teasing each other.
Exactly.
Exactly. So if he did have feelings for anyone, it would make more sense that it was Eddie.
Yeah. And there's that moment too when they're going around talking about if they're married. And he just doesn't say anything. Like, what about you, Richie? And he's just like, doesn't say anything, which is funny because in the miniseries, when they have that same conversation at dinner, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I've been married 6 or 7 times.
Yeah, right.
And that's how it is in the book, too, right? He's been married to a whole bunch of women.
Yeah.
Because they didn't really get into that at all in the movies. But how they can't have kids, how they've all gone off into life, and nobody's had any kids.
Nobody can have kids.
And then Mike says that's because we're cursed, right? In the miniseries. Which I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, Mike kind of touches base that they're infested.
Yeah,
they don't say that they can't have kids,
but they can't have kids. But
he
in
does
the
bring
book,
that up.
Totally,
actually.
in
the movies,
they kind of all have the realization, like, oh shit, dude, you're right.
Yeah, I think from my reading of the book, I feel like Stephen King wishes he was Richie. You know,
Oh,
like
yeah.
he kind of
Yeah.
he kind of created Richie
Yes.
to be like, this is who
Yeah.
I wish I was, like
within the story.
this like
yeah.
super popular
Yep.
DJ that can do all these voices and he's funny all the time. Because Stephen King constantly wants to be funny.
Right.
He's not as funny
Right.
as he is scary though.
But he's totally awkward. Yeah.
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 And so I think
yeah.
like that Richie is
Oh, I
like
get
his
it.
hero character.
I'm
So I
with
don't
you.
think he would want to make him necessarily gay. you
Right.
know?
Right.
So that's
Well, that's
my
why I
reading of
thought
it.
in the movie it's more ambiguous,
Yeah.
right? And I had the distinct feeling it's like there's that time when you're that age that they all are, where you can have feelings like that,
Yeah.
but it doesn't necessarily mean.
It's not like a sexual feeling, right?
Well, maybe it is though, but it's not anything you act on.
Yeah.
And then so it becomes totally ambiguous, right?
I do like the fact though that they didn't just come out and say it, right?
Yeah,
They,
right.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
No, it was,
exactly.
like, very
that leaves it
tastefully
up to
done.
Very,
us.
very
Yeah,
tastefully.
yeah,
and
yeah.
you know, it lets you
Yeah.
decide
Yeah.
what
Right.
kind of feelings he had for Eddie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like when movies do that.
Yeah.
They don't just
That's right.
Yeah.
Shove
yeah.
it
We
in
talk
your
about
face.
that all the time. No one wants
Yeah.
to have their hand held.
No.
Don't come out and just tell us
it's like exposition.
this and
Show
that
me.
and this and that and this
Yeah,
and that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Let
Let
the
us decide.
audience decide for themselves. Recognize your audience have brains.
Right.
What?
The worst thing you can do is fucking dumb down, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
for sure.
That's a guaranteed
Yeah.
garbage trick.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's why we
Yeah,
have
it's-
comedies.
Well, and that just speaks to the smartness of that choice of how they dealt with that in the
Yeah.
movie. That we're still all talking about it like
Yeah.
this too.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
still, we're all
Yeah,
we
yeah.
all have our own opinions about it, and nobody's necessarily right or wrong. you know?
Right.
So that's a smart choice.
Well, I mean, like you said, what that scene will mean to one person watching it
Mm-hmm.
will mean something completely different, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah, that's good storytelling.
that's good movie making
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
That's what we bring
Yeah.
to it. Yeah.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
I feel like a lot of times movies, if you have a movie that's like, as a filmmaker, having a movie that's bad sucks. And if you
Yeah.
have a movie that's just universally good,
Right.
a lot of times I feel like that suffers too, because people don't go see it because they've probably heard about it.
Yeah.
They probably know the story
Yeah,
and they don't take
sure.
the time to watch it, like newer
Sure, sure.
generations.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like if you have a movie that's like almost in between, you get a lot more traffic,
Yeah.
Mhm.
because then you get a lot more people like going to see it to decide what they think about it.
Like Highway
Right.
to Hell.
Right. I bought it.
You
Pete,
did?
I bought it.
Yes.
I bought Highway to
Have you
Hell.
heard about
Have you
this
heard of
movie?
this?
I've heard of it, I think, from
Oh,
you.
man.
Okay.
Oh
So
man.
Never
it's
seen
going to
it,
be here
though.
tomorrow.
Okay, we're gonna watch it tomorrow.
Dude, it looks so over the top. Freaking Jerry Stiller's in it.
I know.
Okay, here we
Jerry
go. Ready?
Stiller, Ben Stiller's
Ready?
in it?
Ready? So it's 1991. It's what would you say? Mad Max meets
I don't even know what. I don't even.
Demon Knight or
Yeah,
something.
I guess.
Mad Max, I'm there.
Or Phantasm. Maybe
Yeah.
it's Phantasm. I don't know. We
It's
haven't seen
Mad
it.
Max
So,
Phantasm.
Mad
That's
Mad
it,
Max
yeah.
meets Phantasm.
Yeah.
Horror movie.
Satanism.
Okay, so get this. We both looked it up on IMDb, and it says so. You under the stats, right? And it's
Yeah.
like budget $9 million, grossed $25,000. How's that even possible?
right?
How can you make only $25,000?
That's a bad hit.
That's almost impossible.
I wonder if it's just.
That means it had
was
to have a limited release, and absolutely nobody went.
Yeah.
probably no marketing either.
And
like,
maybe they just killed it. They just pulled it out
They
of the
just pulled the
theaters.
plug. Yeah. Yeah. It has to be
Yeah.
$25,000.
even if you tried not to.
Yeah.
That's what I
Suck.
mean.
I
You
know.
couldn't try to not get that
Yeah.
many people to go. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. That's
Ah.
like one city in America.
Right. That could be it. It's like, oh, we'll premiere it in Chicago.
Yeah,
Fuck. Whoops.
Yeah.
But I mean, you freaking $9 million.
I know.
You think
But
you
yet
could
it's
have put
got a-
some of that money into advertising.
Right. But it's got a 6 million or no, 6 on IMDb.
Yeah.
6 out of 10. That's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
good.
Oh, dude, the
pretty
freaking trailer looks fantastic.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To portals. It looks like Death Race 2000, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's just like rows and rows of cars on maybe a death race, but they're going through portals, through time
Oh,
portals.
that's
There's like body parts flying around.
that's great.
Yeah.
Rubber severed arms and
So
stuff.
good.
And Jerry Stiller.
There's so many
Jerry
like
Stiller.
just over the top, like
Yeah.
guys getting shot in the head and there's
Yes,
these
yeah,
holes coming out of their head.
Right.
Just
And like some
amazing.
evil cop with a
Yeah.
giant gun,
Yeah.
zombie looking guy.
What year was this made?
Oh, 91? Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's the star in it? I can't remember now.
Jerry Stiller.
Obviously Jerry Stiller.
I think Ben Stiller's in it too.
Oh man.
I swear I think I read that.
Easter egg. Look for Ben Stiller.
Yep.
Dang.
Young Ben Stiller. Yeah.
Yeah, so go out and see that movie too,
Yes.
everybody.
Yes. What else did I order? Oh, Rawhead Rex. If you haven't seen that,
Yep.
go see it. I got the Blu-ray. Had to.
Yes. You got a few copies.
I have
of
3
that one.
copies now. Dang it. Idiot. But it was a resto. It's totally restored and double disc, and I'm a sucker.
But I want to go back to what you were just saying, Mr. Corleone, because I was thinking you were getting on something pretty profound before we wrecked it with Highway to Hell.
Yeah.
But I had to
you mean
mention it.
enhance the scene?
Yeah. But I think that's kind of a cool point to maybe end on for us right now. Is like, you're basically saying like a movie that isn't superly popular in like the zeitgeist or whatever, but also isn't like completely hidden. But it's almost like finding it's like your movie. Like it's you have that experience of that movie, and somehow it's yours, right? That's really cool.
That's what we're all about here too.
Yeah.
Is those types of movies, and we like the big stuff too. I mean, we did freaking Exorcist and Shining. We did some really big ones, but we're kind of notorious for not doing the big blockbuster ones, but the ones that become really cult classics, like From Beyond.
Cult classics. I guess that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Those types of movies are fitting in what I was saying.
Well, there's a reason that they're cult too,
Yeah.
because they have a very, very strong appeal to a very small niche group of people who get it.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas blockbusters, we all hope that we're the ones who get it, but it's inevitable. You can't have the majority of people don't get it.
Yeah.
They're gonna go and it's popcorn, and I'm with
Yeah.
we're holding hands and watching a movie. Yay, that's fun.
Yeah.
I don't mean to knock people's
No.
experience.
I think you should
but,
knock their experience because
but
those assholes are the same people that keep watching Transformers.
yes, I thought you were gonna say the assholes who we dogged. We got to tell that story.
What's that?
We the people sitting next to us, man.
Oh God, you remember that?
So I only heard
The
bits and
gibber-
pieces. Are you guys talking about it chapter 2, right?
It chapter 2.
I didn't hear what all happened.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
'Cause I was on
Here
the
we go.
far end
Okay,
of that.
all right.
Okay,
all right.
so
we're gonna get to it.
We
now.
have primo seats, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Corleone scores us primo seats. We have back row of one of these new hoity-toity recliner theaters.
Yep.
Dead center, back row. So it's best seats in the house, right? And we get them like the day they went on sale, right? I mean, it was awesome. So, not to sound like a prick, but we had like our expectations going in, like we were super stoked.
Yeah.
No doubt about it to see this film, right?
Yeah.
So it's Mr. Corleone, it's Mr. Venkman, and then it's your Dr. K sitting dead center in that order.
Yeah.
Next to Dr. K is No Name Chump 20-year-old, and next to No Name Chump 20-year-old is No Name Chump 20-year-old's girlfriend.
Yep.
And then they had some other buddies too.
Yeah,
They were in a group of probably 3 or 4, but none of those are all NPCs. We don't care about them.
Yeah.
Okay. So the movie starts, and they were jibber jabbering a little bit, like right from the get go, right? And I think I got sucked more into the movie because I noticed, Mr. Venkman, you were the first one to so I'm sitting there, and then Pete leans over and is staring at the dude sitting next to me, dogging him.
I gave them the dead stare
Dead stare, waiting for him to look back at you.
Yeah,
right?
they were being like just
they were being
full
loud,
on obnoxious.
They were just this and that.
I heard
blah,
bits and
blah,
pieces.
blah,
Yeah,
blah,
and
blah,
I rarely get like that,
Right.
but I was like, I want to see this movie, and this is a good
Right.
movie too.
Right.
And so like I was just like waiting for him to give me a stare back, and
Yeah.
I was just gonna give him the shrug, be like,
Yeah.
what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So that happens first, right? And which I noticed. I got sucked back into the movie, right?
but
And
they're
so we're
still
going.
talking the whole
And
time.
then and so then they're just jabbering,
Yeah.
jibber jabbering, and then you leaned over to me and you go, "Dang, what the hell?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, right."
Yeah.
And then it was like 3 minutes after that. So this is my moment. This is what happened. Is I'm watching and I'm
hear
totally
this
in the
too.
movie, and then dude, my volume of the movie just turned down, and all I could hear was the two of them, like blah 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 blah.
They were doing that thing too where it's like the most annoying thing too where it's like it's like the kids in class, when the teacher's talking and they're just going like, oh, look at his fucking shoes.
Yeah.
Why would he wear that? Like they're doing that kind of voice. Both of them.
And like giggling too. Yeah. So luckily for Mr. Corleone, you're the farthest away from them.
Well, so you guys definitely had it worse than I.
Yeah.
I was also sitting next to a big group, but I feel like the things they were saying were very comedic. So I didn't mind as much.
So
it was good. There was a on board with them.
Yeah, there was a scene. You could tell these people had no idea what movie they were seeing. Because at one
Oh.
point, one of the guys all of a sudden is like, "Wait a minute, the clown can turn into anything?" And I was just like, "Oh," I was like, "That's so good."
Sucker.
So obviously,
man. Yeah, you had it way better.
Way better
You had
than
the good
guys.
side.
You guys had the worst of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
yeah,
when I had my moment,
Yeah.
right, I just turn over and pretty loud because I wanted everyone to hear that we had to have a conversation. And I was like, hey, you guys should just go outside and talk about it out there because we can hear every word that you're saying.
Yeah.
And then the guy's like, oh. And then
he's like, oh, really?
It's brilliant, right? Yeah, he's like, oh, really? And then Peter leans over and just goes, yeah, shut the fuck up.
I did.
It was perfect. They didn't say a single word.
They shut up after that. It was great.
I mean, it sucks that it had to get there, but like,
Yeah.
at least.
But we were ready to fist fight.
Yeah, we
Both
gave
of
them
us.
fair warning. We
Yeah,
gave
yeah,
them fair
yeah,
warning.
Yeah.
It's not like you just went to like
No.
11 right away.
And that was the thing too. That was the thing that set me off was because I didn't hear the first part of what you were saying. All I heard was like you saying, "We can hear every single fucking word you're saying" or something, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, hell yeah,
Right.
And so I looked at him to see how he would react.
Right.
And a normal person would be like, "Oh, dude, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
If he would have done that, I wouldn't have said anything.
Right.
But he goes, "Oh, huh, really?" Yeah. And he's like laughing at you.
Right.
And I was like, "Yeah, shut the fuck up."
Oh man.
And it was
That was great.
Yeah.
It was like you asked for it, man.
So we kicked some ass, dude.
That was pretty good.
It was weird because the theater wasn't packed.
No.
But of
No,
course,
it wasn't. Surprisingly,
But around us, it was.
I
Like, it
know.
was so
Everybody
weird.
got the good row. Yeah. Yes. I thought the same thing. I was like, there's a bunch of empty seats down there, and then you look at our row, and it's like every
like,
seat. Yeah.
seriously?
That's
Yeah,
what I was
yeah,
gonna say
yeah.
too to those jackasses, jackalopes. I was gonna say jackanapes. I was gonna say if you guys keep talking, go the fuck down there. Go 3 or 4 rows down there.
Right.
That was
Right.
the other thing I was gonna say to them if they didn't shut up. But
Yep.
They shut up.
Yep.
So
Well, yeah.
Another one for the books.
Yeah.
That was good. It was good. I was proud of us.
that was
awesome.
pretty good. Although I do have a friend that he's from Belgium, and he got the name Captain Belgium because he was at some movie that he really wanted to see. I think it was one of the Avengers. I'm hearing this third hand, but
Right.
But they're sitting there, and there was a lady on her phone,
Oh gosh.
like sitting right next to them, you
Right.
know. And they paid a lot. They're at the IMAX or something too. you
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And he did the same thing. He gave her the stare, and she just and she's like holding her phone in front
Wait,
of her.
she's on the phone.
Yeah,
Like
she's talking on the phone.
Oh, I thought she was like maybe
What
just
the
texting on
hell?
the light.
Like speakerphone
No, yeah.
on the phone. Yeah.
Oh man.
She's talking on the phone in the middle, and so he looks at her, and she just looks up, and she keeps talking.
Yeah.
He took his bag of popcorn, threw it at her.
Yeah.
Oh jeez. Jeez.
And she just she got up and she left.
Good.
And it was like, and everybody was like,
good.
yeah.
And told
man.
the world how
Yeah.
fucked it was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
And
I've seen people do that at ball games.
Yeah.
Throw shit, you know.
Oh, I've thrown popcorn at ball games.
Yeah,
I'll be
yeah,
honest.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
usually
yeah.
at somebody.
Shut up!
Usually at somebody from the other team. But,
Yeah, right.
But I mean, that's all in
The
good
theater's
fun,
even
usually.
better.
Yeah.
Well, funny, right? Because that's the miniseries when they
Yeah.
all go to the movie theater and
Yeah.
and the bad kids are sitting
Yes.
below, and then Richie stands up and he goes, "Hey,
Yeah.
you guys at the horror movie? What are you doing here watching it?" And pours his Coke on him. Yeah. Yep. We're living the life,
I
guys.
know, life imitates art, man.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yep.
that's.
Yep.
Yeah, I missed that whole transaction. I
Ah,
just saw
yeah.
I heard bits and pieces.
Yep.
Didn't know what was going on. I meant to ask after.
Yep.
That was pretty awesome.
Yep.
That was pretty awesome.
It was.
Yeah, I was thinking about that afterwards too. You know, I was like, this is one of the few situations where I feel totally justified
Oh yeah,
You know?
without question.
Like you said, you gave him warning.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not like
and I
you
was
just
like,
went berserk on
and
him.
I was like, I don't usually have road rage or fly off the handle at complete strangers. I can't remember the time I've just looked at a complete stranger and said, "Shut the f up," you know.
Right.
But in this case, I'm like, I felt kind of happy with ourselves. I was
Yeah,
like, we did a
yeah.
good job. We
Look,
did a
there are
good job.
social norms,
Yeah.
whether or not you want to conform to them or not.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I mean, if
we
we
had
want-
pretty steady ground to
Yeah,
stand on. Yeah.
if we want to look at the long term,
Yeah.
you've done the world a favor
done a
because
favor.
Yes.
next time this happens,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they won't hopefully be talking. They'll
Exactly.
have a flashback of this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So,
You know what'll be funny, right? Or is they're gonna pick like some little old ladies to sit next to so that they think they can get away with it? And yo, grannies are gonna like, shut the fuck up! Hit them with a stick,
Just
you
a
know?
stick on
Get
them.
out of here, you assholes!
Or the granny's gonna like strip naked and turn into that thing,
Start dancing. around.
turn into that thing from like Pennywise, whatever that was, that horrific monster.
That would be even better.
Dang it, that would be the best. Oh, we didn't even talk about when she drinks the blood out of the cup in the miniseries. That
yeah.
that creeped me out
Yeah.
as a kid, right?
Yeah.
Where she's stirring her tea and they cut back and they
Yeah.
go back to her and it's blood in there and she's like,
And her teeth are all yellow.
yeah, and her
and
teeth are all
stuff.
rotten.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
You actually made a good point, Dr. K, when we got out of the theaters, is the practical effects were great. That
Yeah,
scene, you
that's
mentioned
right.
it.
That's right.
Where Bev is in the
Yep.
like toilet stall and it just
Yes.
starts to fill with blood.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for reminding me. That was easily one of my favorite scenes. Yeah,
And to
that
mirror
stall
that,
scene, yeah.
they did the or similar to Ben, where they're literally just like
Yes.
burying him alive.
That's right.
So, I think obviously some of that was CG, but
Yep.
some of
Yep,
it was
yep.
practical
Totally a
as
parallel
well.
though, and especially it's that whole you can't go anywhere and you're about to suffocate, right? I
Yep.
mean that's terrifying. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So many smart choices.
Oh yeah, yep.
I loved it, and I love the fact that he just, assuming that they're probably going to be taken out, starts reciting that poem to her.
Yes, right.
So like, there's so much going on in that scene.
Yep.
So she's figuring out
Yep.
he's the one who had feelings for her.
That's
They're
right.
all trying to escape from it.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was good, and practically, it just looked beautiful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the best part.
That was a crescendo of
Mhm.
things coming together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's nothing like huge amounts of blood too, you know.
That was so
The
good.
Shining,
For sure.
Evil Dead 2 is probably my favorite.
Yep.
Shining with the elevator.
The
all
Shining
that
the
blood.
elevator, though, I mean,
Oh.
it's the most beautiful thing you'll ever see in a horror movie. Probably
Yeah,
is the
really.
the
So
elevator
memorable,
opening.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
Whether you like that
blow
movie
your
or
mind.
not,
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
That
yeah.
seems
Oh,
great.
it's like looking at a painting. Yeah.
That movie will turn you into a Catholic.
Yes.
Catholics are obsessed with blood.
Yeah.
and, like,
Yep.
they're
Yep.
just,
Right.
you know,
Yep. It's true.
yeah.
And then, yeah, Evil Dead 2 will make you not
Evil Dead 2.
mess with Kandarian demons.
that's
Dang
right.
it.
You will learn.
Okay, we're digressing again. This is
Yeah.
definitely going to be a two-parter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we want to thank everybody for hanging out with us for this amazing adventure, and
Yes.
particularly our guest tonight, Mr. Vito
Mr.
Corleone.
Hey,
You got an apple for me, eh?
Hey.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yes,
this
we
was
love
great.
it. Hopefully, we'll
Yeah.
get you in here for some more too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This
I don't know
was
if you
fun.
guys have talked about the thing already. I'm still
We
trying.
have,
We
we
have.
have,
Yeah,
but
I'm trying to catch up on the podcast. But
yes,
That
yes,
was one
yes,
of our
yes.
very first episodes.
As
actually.
it
It
should
was.
be.
Yeah.
It was.
That one
I think it
was
was our
great.
second episode.
Yeah.
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 And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But we did it early. Yeah.
Yeah, we did. We did. And
it's,
it's because it's maybe the greatest horror movie.
Yeah.
It's definitely my
arguably-
favorite.
yeah,
Although
yeah,
Jaws
yeah.
is right there because
Yes.
of the way that changed my life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. yeah.
Yeah.
But gore,
Mhm.
best gore movie stands alone. I mean,
Yeah.
and there's some good ones. There are
Oh,
some
yeah.
fantastic gore movies. But dang it, The Thing,
Yeah.
which brings us right back to Stan's head
Yep.
and the movies we're talking about. There's a reason why you can't forget that movie.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot forget it.
You can't.
Oh, dude.
I love watching it with people that
When
haven't
Blair's,
seen it before,
what's his
too.
name? Blair, is that his name? When his head tears off,
Yep.
and I mean that's it's ridiculous. It's
What about
insane.
what about the chest that's just like
Oh,
chomping
the
on his
mouth.
arms?
Yeah, yeah.
You guys know how they did that with his hands
Yes.
being chomped off?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
they had a
Yeah.
vet who had no
Yeah.
arms. Yeah,
Yeah, so good.
It's
That's
ridiculous.
incredible.
So good.
It's so you watch it and you're like, yeah, that's the only way you could have done that.
See, this is why we love practical effects, though, because
Yes.
it's like you have to be like a deviant street magician to think of things like that. You
Right.
know, like how am I going
Right.
to trick the
How am I
audience?
going to do it?
Well, I mean, we
Yeah.
did talk about it outside the theater too. CGI, your brain is meant to like pick
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
these
That's
things
right.
that
Yeah.
what's
Absolutely
real.
it
The
is.
uncanny valley.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
With practical effects, like that's a real thing in
Right.
a real room with
Right.
the real actor.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
If it's really good practical effects, then it blends
then
even
you
more
don't
smooth.
even know. I think with practical effects, the hardest part was putting yourself in a situation where the situation is believable.
Yeah.
Because then the effect is secondary, right? It was just establishing a real situation in the first place, right? Because a lot of times when practical effect doesn't work, you're like, yeah, I haven't believed any of this since you started going because the story is garbage, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't believe any of it. But if you can get us pulled in, then the practical effect works great. But yeah, that problem with CG is that, our brains, since we were freaking living in the jungle, is like, that's not a good thing. Because I look at it, we're just so hardwired for it. Yeah.
But then that leads me to think about Dark Crystal.
Yeah,
the new
thank
Dark
you. We
Crystal.
didn't even talk about
where
Dark
there's-
Have you guys seen that yet?
Oh, I'm on like the 8th episode or the 9th episode.
Yeah.
I
I'm on
watched
episode
it.
4. I'm only halfway through. Dang it.
I watched it all in like
I know you
10
binged.
hours.
Yeah,
I've
you
binged.
binged.
Greatest thing ever. If no one's seen that
brilliant.
yet, please go watch it.
Holy smoke,
And
people.
it's amazing how that. I mean, that is a great example of how people are using CG smartly
That's
now.
right.
Where like you
Subtlety.
mentioned this to me, and I didn't
Subtlety.
even pick up on it until you mentioned it to me,
Yeah.
Dr. K. But it's like the tongues of the Skeksis. Those are CG tongues.
Yes.
Enhancing
But
Yes,
rather than
that's right.
Yes.
That's right.
And they're finally getting it now.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And it's so great because the Dark Crystal is really proving this to Hollywood, like
that
this
you
is
can
what
have
people
massive
like.
practical
Yeah.
effect and it looks awesome.
And people
Yeah.
will eat it up. People love it.
That's right.
I was talking about that with my wife. You have your Star Trek people, you have your Star Wars people, you have your horror fans, you have whatever camp you're in, the Marvel
Yes.
superheroes.
Yep.
Every single one of us love Dark Crystal. Though.
It's the binder. It's what
Yeah.
brings all of us together.
It really is.
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I haven't met a single person.
That's
that,
right.
That hates Dark Crystal.
That's right.
My
Pure
kid,
fantasy.
So my kid's 4.
Yep.
And when I was binge watching this,
Yeah.
he got really into it.
Yes.
Nice.
And as a parent, that was such a cool moment.
Absolutely.
It was
Absolutely.
like, oh yes.
I remember
Share this
that
with
with,
you.
Yes.
with my oldest daughter too. The same thing.
And I was
when
kinda
you first
worried.
start bringing them into it, and they're just like, "Oh,
Yeah.
this is so." Because you can't, even though the Skeksis are scary, as a kid, you're so much on the side of the Gelfling and the Mystics that it's okay that the Skeksis are terrifying.
Yeah.
Because you're not.
No hand
You don't have to root for them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're rooting for Jen and what's her name, Kira, and the Podlings.
I think the Dark Crystal, especially for its time, talked about a bunch of stuff that
Oh man.
kid movies weren't doing, like death.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, far more serious.
Yeah.
That was to the hints to
And I
Jim
mean-
and
Yeah.
Frank Oz. That was really
Oh,
to
yeah.
their credit because
Yeah.
they did the same thing in the
Absolutely.
Labyrinth. They
Yeah.
did the same thing in Mirror Mask.
Well,
A lot more serious.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool because it's like they learn so much about child psychology. from
Yeah, doing Sesame Street all
for
those years, yeah.
decades,
Yep.
that
That's very true.
they're like, hey,
Yep.
we know how to talk to kids.
Yep.
Like we
Yep.
don't have to talk down to them.
Right. Exactly. That's
yeah.
it. The problem is too, and we talk about this on the show all the time, but it's I'm even more offended when you talk down to me as an adult.
Oh,
Dang it.
No kidding.
I'll let you slide on the kid
Yeah.
part every once in a
Yeah.
while. 'Cause I'm like, oh well, it's kids,
Yeah.
But dang it, dude, don't freaking
yeah.
dumb down Hollywood.
No.
That's why I pick on comedy so much. But anytime, don't dumb down to me. I blame producers. I'm always like, there was a line of producers in this movie who all had to F it up.
Yeah.
For the filmmakers, right?
Yep.
They had to, and then what you get is a stupid piece of crap. It's like, gosh, you're appealing to nothing.
We
Dang
need a giant robot spider.
Yeah.
We need it. Just figure out how to put it in there.
right.
That's a true story.
Yeah. I've
Right.
heard that story.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's sad that happens, but
Oh god,
it happens.
dude.
Yep.
It's so true.
Yep. But yeah, Dark Crystal, man, is smart.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
doesn't talk down to you at all. And then if anything, I mean, it's like it's darker than the original even.
Yeah, really.
It's like whoa.
Because
Well,
you got so much more time.
Yeah.
Right. It's not 2 hours, man. You got freaking 10 hours in the first season.
And then
Dude.
for anyone
it's
who's
great.
seen the movie,
Yeah.
like it's even more sad
Yes.
knowing that all these characters
Yes.
essentially
Yeah.
die.
I know.
Like
yeah.
Right.
I'm super invested, but it's like at the end of the day, I know that there's only 2
Nobody's-
Gafflings
nobody's
Right.
showing
when
up.
we get to the movie.
Right.
Yeah. This can't end well.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. It's
man.
pretty crazy.
What else can we spoil? No, I'm just playing.
Yeah.
You know what I want to spoil, and I'm sorry.
Do it.
I'm going to make a lot of people angry. I'm not really sorry because I'm angry about this myself. Okay, listen to this.
Yes.
Everybody I talk to, a lot of my friends, right, that love Dark Crystal, they're
Yeah.
like, "Have you heard Mark Hamill? Oh, it's so great. He's in this." And I'm like, "No, I have the exact opposite reaction.
Oh, you told me.
Oh,
this.
man.
Okay,
Because
so,
he's
yeah,
freaking doing the
veto
Joker.
Yeah.
He's not even doing a new character.
Yeah.
He's the one thing that takes me out of the experience because it's like every time he talks,
You're hearing the Joker.
"Ooh, Batman!"
Oh, that's pretty. Yeah.
I'm like,
That's
you
a
can
good
at least
point.
do a different voice. I know you're a good voice actor.
Right.
I'm the scientist. Come on, let's go over here to Gotham City. You bastard. I hate that Mark Hamill for doing that.
It's too funny. I think
just-
I just didn't watch enough Batman. Is probably why.
Maybe that's
Yeah.
why it saves you.
I did watch a bunch of the animated series as a kid.
And you just can't get Joker out of your head. I just can't do it.
I mean, I'm pretty impressed. I'm happy to hear Mark Hamill.
yeah.
But that's a good point. That's a very good point.
Yeah, I mean, this is how I feel about it. I'm glad he did it. I'm glad he's in it. But at the same time, don't be kissing his ass because he could have done a better job.
That's a good
He
point.
should have just done a character that was Harrison Ford, because his Harrison Ford is
Right.
deadpan, and you wouldn't be able to tell the two apart.
His Harrison Ford is incredible.
It's so good.
You
Holy
guys should
cow.
just do a podcast about how Harrison Ford could be anything.
Yeah,
I know, right? Yeah.
I know. Really.
Take any horror villain and just put Harrison Ford in there.
Yes,
And
yes.
instant success.
Yes. Yep.
Ron Perlman in there too.
There we go. Yes. Pennywise the Clown. How about Harrison Ford?
I want to see Harrison Ford as Reagan, the kid, the girl in the Exorcist remake.
Oh man,
That would be good. He's got the
Yes.
scratchy voice.
Yeah.
It's all
Yep.
there.
make him Freddy Krueger.
Just
Yeah.
his
Oh,
voice.
Freddy.
Yep. Fuck me, Jesus.
You cast him as Freddy Krueger, and then what's the actor that plays Freddy Krueger?
Robert
yeah.
Englund.
Yes.
You
Robert
have
Englund.
him
Yeah.
as the main character who's dreaming of Freddy
Oh,
Krueger. That's
there
his
we
Freddy
go.
Krueger.
There we
That's
go.
even.
You know what I
more
read
terrifying.
recently?
Yeah.
This is crazy. I heard Robert Englund saying, like, he's like, I'm too old to be Freddy now.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. He's like, we need a new actor that will take, Nightmare on Elm Street to the next generation.
Yep.
I think Kevin Bacon should be.
Kevin Bacon.
That's his choice. Kevin
Interesting.
Bacon.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know why he would choose him.
Yeah.
I mean, it could work, I guess, but
I'm trying to think of a Kevin Bacon in like
well,
a insane role, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Tremors.
Eh,
we'll see.
Yeah.
England will be at Comic-Con. Maybe,
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe
That's
we'll wait in
him.
line to ask
That's
him.
right.
Yeah, like, why'd you choose Kevin Bacon, man?
Yeah.
I mean, his name's Bacon, but he doesn't look like Bacon. And it would be one thing if he looked like Bacon, then he would be Freddy Krueger. That's a stupid joke, but
Good one. Good
Yeah,
one.
thank you.
Well played. Well played.
That's how we know you're a
Yeah.
father. That's a dad
it.
joke.
I
yeah.
know it
Yes.
totally is. But it's appropriate too, though.
Very.
Okay, so we're
All
gonna
right.
go out.
Yep. Wrap
We're
it
running
up.
long, but Dr. K has a question to pose.
All right.
You have 3 seconds
Oh.
to form your answers.
Very serious. Okay.
Not the best. Your favorite.
Hmm.
Friday the 13th. Nightmare on Elm Street.
It is Friday the 13th.
It is Friday the 13th. Hey,
Yeah.
you won't hear this on Friday the 13th, but it
Oh,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that. Okay, ready? So, Dream Warriors.
Okay. That's the one with. What's the one with the kid who's like a wizard in his dreams? You're talking about Nightmare on Elm Street, right?
Yes, that's Dream Master.
Dream Master. That's
we
the
go.
one. That's the one thing.
See, I'm going with Dream Warriors. Too,
Yeah,
because
okay. Yep.
Just
We're,
because.
we're a couple years older than you.
That's
right?
fair. The
Yeah.
only reason I love that one
Yes.
is because
Oh,
I
it's great.
love
They're
it
all
in
great.
movies when things go wrong.
Yes.
And I remember that kid
Absolutely.
was like,
Yep.
"I'm a wizard here," and Freddy still kills him. Yep. I love it.
Yep.
That just right there makes me want to see it again.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, they're all good.
Because he puts up a pretty good fight, but then
Yeah.
Freddy still
Yeah.
like kicks his butt.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
It's
yep.
over.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Always pick Dream Warriors because it was the first one I saw,
Yeah.
and then I worked backwards and then forwards
Yeah.
from there. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's-
I think I remember Dream Warriors. I have so many memories of because that was when MTV was raging too.
Oh man, yeah.
And I remember watching like this making of thing on MTV of Dream Warriors because they're like, it's coming out soon, and
Right.
and they were just showing all this behind the scenes stuff.
Yep.
I was getting so jazzed for that,
Yes.
like the dump scene.
Yes.
And the cockroach,
Oh, gosh.
the cockroach arms, and like, all
that's
that
my
stuff.
second favorite
Yeah.
part. Yep.
Oh,
Yep. The dog. The
Yeah.
cockroach is just
just the best.
that effect. Oh, you just to watch that.
Oh.
Yeah. When he
Beautiful.
bugs out. Oh
Yeah.
God. Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
everybody, thanks for hanging out with us for the last 3 hours. And hopefully we got your it fix on.
Yeah, hopefully we got enough of it in
We
there.
touched on all things it.
Yeah.
And
more.
Was there
if we
anything
didn't-
we left out?
you
We got our last chance here.
Yes.
Anything else we wanted to talk about? I think we covered it.
That's a big no.
Covered it.
Yeah, I feel like we're missing something, but I can't think of it.
Of course we are. That's
for
what
sure.
comments are for. People, if you're
Yeah.
watching this on YouTube or listening to it on YouTube, tell us. Be like, hey, what about? dummies.
I will say this.
Yeah.
The music in the miniseries
Yes.
still holds up.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The music is great.
Absolutely agree. Yeah.
Really great.
Yep. Yep. The score is great. The music that they picked, especially because they're playing like that, like late 50s, early 60s bebop music. But the score is fantastic. The score is fantastic.
One of the great, like, I feel like it's an underrated horror.
It is.
Score.
It is. Yeah.
It's really good.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I want to say.
Is that it?
Yep.
Beep beep, Richie.
Beep beep, Richie. Nice.